Sundowns' draw to Fluminense means that all four teams from Africa are out of the Club World Cup in the group stage. And I've got to say, it's incredibly harsh. That is not deserved. We deserved at least one, if not two, to go through. I'm going to go through all the teams in a second, but on paper it does not look great. You've got all four Brazilians going through. We know how seriously those guys are taking it. But for all four African nations to be eliminated in the group phase is not a good look. We've been incredibly hard done by for a number of reasons, and I will start off with Sundowns, who we've just seen draw 0-0 against Fluminense. So Sundowns get 4 points. They only lose one game, and that's 4-3 to Borussia Dortmund, by the way. 2 clean sheets for Ron Williams and Sundowns as expected. But ultimately, 4 points, not enough to go through. Fluminense with 5 go through. And 7 points for Dortmund wins them the group. Now, if we look at the game tonight, Sundowns, for me, particularly in the first half, battered Fluminense. You see the chance for Ribeiro, the chance for Matthews. Sundowns should have beaten Fluminense. Sundowns are a better side than Fluminense, who dropped or rested, however you want to call it, Thiago Silva. For me, that's a bit of an insult, disrespecting Mamelodi there. And the first half, Sundowns should have easily been a goal ahead and had a really good penalty shout that I think they didn't make a meal of with Anthony Taylor, of all people, refereeing, not even going to the monitor and taking a look. But even with all that, they got a 0-0 draw against Fluminense, but they just weren't clinical enough, Sundowns. Even in the first game when they beat Olsen HD, they only won 1-0. They should have easily won that game by 2 or 3 goals. Against Dortmund, the defensive errors from Ron Williams and the own goal as well, that's cost them. And then when the defence shows up, the attack fails to deliver, failing to score against Fluminense, who basically came to draw the game. It's a bit of anti-football. But again, they should have got more attacking. Mokoena, again, loves a yellow card. God knows what's happening with the national team with that. But then he gets booked again. So even if they'd gone through, Mokoena would have missed the last 16. And he gets subbed off. I don't know why. I don't know if the manager thought he was going to get sent off. Might as well have kept him. You can't rest him if you go through. He can't play. He comes off. I'd have gone with all the attackers. I would have gone with Matiba. I would have gone with all these guys. Shalulile. It's all too late. You needed sustained pressure. There was 8 minutes added and not a real opportunity apart from one cross fizzed into the box. And ultimately, I think Sundowns are going to feel annoyed. Listen, they've done the continent proud. They've got more points than any African team with this competition. They lost one game. They gave Dortmund a really good game. They put themselves on the map even more. I mean, Africans know how good they are, but I think on the world now, everyone knows who Sundowns are. But they'll feel disappointed they didn't get out of that group because I think they really deserve to, and I think Fluminense were just a boring watch. I mean, Fluminense were losing to Olsen HD, weren't they, twice? God knows how, and they've ended up going through. So I think it's a bit unfair that they've gone out, but I do think the South Africans should hold their heads up high, and I think it's very promising for South African national team come the AFCON. Look how good they've done against top players. And when you see South Africa, hopefully at the World Cup next summer as well, they're not going to be going out in the group stage. Not a chance. So Sundowns bow out, but they bow out with pride and respect. And I think they should be really proud of the tournament they've had. And Ribeiro and Reyners, and we know about Williams and Modao and Lung. Listen, they've had great competitions. That's why it's so gut-wrenching that they've gone out. They've not played that badly. But unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Ahly, 4-4 with Porto. Deary me. They led the games four times. They were in the lead 4 times and still didn't win. And there were so many Ahly fans there. Somehow didn't win that game. Abu Ali, the perfect hat-trick, left foot, right foot and header. Scores the penalty, which, by the way, if he took in the first game against Miami, which Trezeguet took, when Abu Ali's the pen taker, they would have gone through and Miami would have been out. You see the fine margins. Ahly battered Miami in the first game. Drew 0-0, missed a penalty. That missed penalties knocked them out. There's no way Ahly were the worst team in that group, and they finished bottom. So for me, you got Sundowns and Ahly were on the pitch, very unlucky. And then you look at the other sides with Esperance and Wydad, who for me off the pitch were unlucky before a ball was kicked, because Esperance got given Chelsea and Flamengo, which is tough. And Wydad got given Man City and Juventus, which is tough. So before you even start off the competition, you're massively disadvantaged. Esperance froze in the first game against Flamengo, beat LAFC, had a chance to go through in the last game against Chelsea, but then Belaley gets suspended, their best player, for 2 yellow cards. I mean, if you want any hope of getting a result against Chelsea, you cannot have your best player suspended. That's what happened to Esperance. And they lost to Chelsea, which in itself is not a bad result, but they walk away with 3 points, and Balali gets a bit of recognition he wants, and then Widad, I mean, it was always going to be tough. You can bring in Amrabat and whoever you want into that side when you're playing Man City, who've just signed Shirky, Ait-Nouri and Reinders and Juventus, who is still a very big team. You're up against it. Against Man City, they did very well to keep it at 2-0 and they had chances. And against Juventus, they got it to 2-1, they had chances. Of course, they could, still beat Ahly, but it doesn't really matter because even if they beat Ahly, they're still going to be out. But when you're given these sorts of teams, Man City, Juventus and Flamengo and Chelsea, what do you expect? So for me, it's a variety of reasons as to why all 4 African teams have gone out in the group stage, but I don't think they've done bad. I don't think they've done bad. We've got clean sheets, we've scored goals, we've won games, we've taken fans, we've given a lot of colour and excitement to this competition. This competition needed the African sides because the European sides have been a bit boring. So it's a shame. When you look at some of the teams that have gone through, like Fluminense and Botafogo and Benfica, I mean, they're just not really. I wanted to see Sundowns and Ahly. I said Sundowns and Ahly would go through before the cup started, and I think they both should have gone through. For me, in my opinion, you can say I'm biased or whatever, they should have both gone through. But unfortunately, all 4 African sides are out at the group stage. So there we are. What do you guys think? Of course, an African could still win it, whether that be Ait-Nouri at Man City, Girassi at Dortmund, Brahim Diaz at Real Madrid. There's plenty still in the competition. But as for the African club sides, it's not a good look that all 4 go out in the group stage. So what did you guys think of the group phase of the FIFA Club World Cup, or did they deserve to go out, these teams? Am I being a bit sugarcoating with how the results have gone? So let me know down below. That's it for this competition. I'll see you next time.